All right, welcome to the very first episode of the Jacob Wayne podcast, or perhaps the Tipsy Jacob Wayne podcast. Probably it'll just be the Jacob Wayne podcast, honestly, because I don't plan on being that tipsy most of the time I do this. So, why are we doing this? What's the point? There's thousands upon thousands of podcasts. Why would I contribute to all of them? And I think that's simply because I have a unique point of view, and sometimes I have the exact same opinion as everybody else, but sometimes I don't. I did a podcast way back in 2013 when I lived in Hangzhou, China, and it was kind of hard to do all by myself with a little Zoom recorder, so I kind of gave up doing it, but I took radio broadcasting for a little bit in college at Utah State University, and I've always kind of wanted to mess with this.
Yeah.
So, getting it rolling, trying to learn my way around it. We're still figuring out equipment and what to record it in and how to go about it. But today I am joined by my good buddy and comrade, Kellen Gibbons.
Hello.
How you doing today?
I'm doing good.
Well, that's good. So how do we know each other?
Oh man. Well, apparently we grew up just a few blocks away from each other, but I do not remember you from said time. But apparently our families grew up quite close together. I remember meeting you at my first job, Pizza Plus.
Yep.
I don't know what job number that was for you, but
It was probably like 4 or 5.
word.
I usually will stick around at a place. Once I get the job, I'll be there for a few years. So I suppose one interesting thing about our background together is that we're both from Utah. I imagine initial listeners of this podcast will probably be people we know, and they'll be in Utah, so it won't be that unique of a thing, but Utah to some other people can be kind of a weird little spot.
Oh yeah.
So, I suppose just by nature of how that state is, that will creep into elements of this podcast and offer a unique perspective. I think these days with city folk versus suburban folk and this and that, Utah has its own particular flavor.
Big time.
So, that might creep in, and so that kind of leads me into the next thing is, once again, why do this? What would we even talk about? And for me, I'm also a painter, and I kind of stopped listening to music a while ago when I paint because I'm also a musician, so I kind of like to keep the two separate. Like, I start thinking about music too much when I'm painting if I listen to it, unless I'm like right near the end and I'm just doing all that finish it up stuff. So I started to listen to a bunch of podcasts, and so that kind of blended with the radio broadcasting thing, and I just really enjoy them. So all my favorite podcasts are ones where people just try to have a regular conversation. All the ones that are produced and have, this is the game we're going to play today, like, it's not really my thing.
No soundboards here.
Well, I
Yet.
do like a good soundboard, I will say this. One of my favorite podcasts is Your Mom's House podcast, and if you haven't listened to it, I highly recommend it. But
Indeed.
that show, for lack of a better term, can be a tad bit filthy, and I can enjoy those things, but I don't think you need to necessarily worry about that on this podcast. We're going to keep it a little more casual, a little lighter.
Nice.
You might hear a dirty word every now and again, but it probably won't go down a hardcore path, as some might say.
Good.
Yeah. That being said, politics.
Yeah, it's gonna get
Um,
dirty.
how how do we avoid it?
I don't I don't know if you can right now.
Yeah, I know. I was initially thinking when conceptualizing the show, oh, we can kind of just go down the list of like standard entertainment things. Like we could talk a little bit about what's going on in sports, a little bit about music, a little bit about movies, maybe a movie we just watched, and just recently, for instance, I started gambling on sports.
Hmm.
And I was rolling high. I was like winning, winning, winning. So I had all my bets stacked for the NBA playoffs, and I was ready to go. I'm scratching my neck, just like, let's get this. And then the protest happened about Jacob Blake, I believe it is.
Yes, sounds right.
See, and that's what makes me nervous. I feel like I'll get the name wrong and then get a bunch of angry emails or something. But I think that's the name. It's a terrible thing that happened, and all the NBA teams decided to just we're not playing today and we're not playing the next day.
Yep.
And to watch the anger and rage that popped up on social media was astounding.
Oh yeah, it's disheartening.
Yeah, so even when we're talking about just sports, it can be suddenly it's political these days. And
Yeah.
I mean, I think as far as I go, I'm a fairly liberal fella. I think I have some aspects of my personality that might not go that direction, but I suppose for anybody who's listening, that is probably the angle you'll get from me a bit.
Yep.
So,
Same here.
if you're into the current guy in office, I'm not going to waste time talking shit on him, but you might as well just not listen to this because
Yep.
not a big fan of him either.
Yeah.
So, that being said, I already feel like we talked a ton about politics already, and I'm already over it. So, that's not to say we won't have longer conversations about things like that in the future. Just that it'll be an element. It's not just a straight entertainment podcast. It's not just a straight politics podcast. We might talk about love and your love life, and
Who
we
knows?
who knows. We'll try to talk about everything. That being said, yeah, we're not going to have bullet points of every little subject. Don't get upset if we had a good movie conversation one episode and then the next episode we didn't talk about movies at all.
Yeah.
But with that being said, let's just go ahead and just kind of roll into it. So I'll just ask you, what appeals to you about doing a podcast?
Well, I definitely enjoy them. Like you were saying, various activities are very nice to listen to a podcast while doing, and always thought I might be decent at it, so wanted to give it a try. We've been talking about it for a long time. It's good to finally get going on it, and it's always nice to talk into a big microphone. I don't know, feels fancy.
Yeah, it's true.
A lot better than the Zoom.
Mm-hmm. That is certainly true. I suppose that's something that should be addressed. Is I actually don't live in Utah anymore. I live in Fort Collins, Colorado. So a lot of the time when we were discussing this, it was how do we do this over the internet? Do we just Skype it? Do we do it on Discord?
Mm-hmm.
And we had Kellen visiting us here in Fort Collins, so it was like, you know what, we just need to go ahead, dive in, and get it rolling, and we'll kind of pick up the pieces as it goes along.
Yeah.
So, another element of that is I mentioned that I had tried to do this before, just kind of solo,
Yeah.
and it is not the easiest thing in the world. Another podcast I listen to, which is Bill Burr,
Mm-hmm.
um, the podcast he does where he just does them by himself. I don't understand how he pulls it off. So
Yeah, that'd be difficult.
I remember the first one I did was like over an hour, and then the next one was like I could barely do 15 minutes.
Yep.
So it's good that I have this to do with you. And this initial show is the Jacob Wayne Show. It's just casual conversation. We do have another podcast planned, but we'll just keep that close to the chest for now. Still
Mm-hmm.
kind of figuring it out. But anything you want to like hint at about that?
Well, it's gonna definitely be a little more focused. You can definitely expect the subject to be the same every week, and yeah, I think we can handle. It's going to be a little based a lot on music. That's about all
That's
we'll feed out for
ooh,
now.
that's a chunky hot bit of information right there. Yeah, me and Kellen were in a band together, are in a band together. Once again, we live in different areas, so it's kind of hard to stay productive with it. But
Yep.
that band is called Fakoshka, and it was kind of like a funk, grass, metal, everything kind of band.
Disco death.
Yeah,
Many
disco,
different.
dirgy, pop, death metal.
Yeah, just all the stuff.
Mm-hmm. And we have another musical project we're working on right now called Cloud Faculty, which is a little more relaxed and sexy chill music like Morchiba or Sneaker Pimps. Maybe a little bit of Gorillas in there.
Yeah.
So we just have a lot of musical conversations and music that we actually work on ourselves. Uh, Kellen, you're quite the musician, actually. How many bands do you have right now?
Oh man. Well, the virus has slowed a lot of things down. To count, active bands is not a high number right now, but right before the virus hit, I think I was about seven or eight active bands is usually how many
7 or 8.
around there, and that's some more active than others.
Yeah, well, I mean, there you have it. The man is a musical. Well, I'm not going to say genius because I don't even really like that word, but um, he's musically prodigious. How about we go
Ooh,
with that?
nice.
Um,
I have to Google it.
and I would like to formally apologize for how much I go. I'm working on it. I'm conscientious of it. It'll slowly go down as this continues and I get a little more used to it. I am currently in a group with my roommate, Brandon Shockey. That group is called Gamma Pa.
Mm-hmm.
That kind of has some 90s alternative rock flavors and
Yep.
it's kind of blues rock in some aspects. And that's really fun. And it's been nice to be able to work consistently on music again. And so on my end, it tends to just be Fakoshka and Gamma Pa. Maybe I'd fill in on bass here and there for people, but it's not very often.
Yeah.
So, oh, and I also do a lot of electronic music when I get inebriated and set up my computer and just make little electronic bleep bloops.
The turtleneck.
Yeah, the turtleneck. I've changed it to Jacob Wayne just to have the
Oh,
name. I'm just like, this is just me. But I use turtleneck for any albums I put up on all the streaming services.
I see.
It's Turtleneck Records.
Okay.
Turtleneck, why did I have that name? Well, I don't have a very strong chin, and if I shave my beard, I look like a peach turtle. So I was just writing one day, doing all this electronic music, and I was like, turtleneck. I look like a turtle. So that's where that name came from. There's another one. So that next podcast will be a musical podcast, and we'll leave it at that for now. Hopefully that shows up sooner rather than later. But for
Yeah.
now, we've discussed why we started doing this. We discussed why we like podcasts. We discussed our relationship. Any other ground you think we ought to cover for the people?
No, I think they get the main idea of what we're here for. I think, yeah.
Okay. So first things first, the Republican National Convention. What do you think of that?
Well, my ears have almost stopped ringing from old, I forgot her last name now. Screaming something.
Screaming Turgis or
Jeffrey.
Thailand?
I can't remember her name. Yeah, she had some loud words to speak.
There were many loud words.
Oh, it was
Did
quite the
you
lineup.
did you see the new Batman trailer? We're
No,
just
I
gonna
did
move
not.
right on. I really a lot of loud words. Okay,
Yep,
movies.
that's about the RNC.
Did you see the new Batman trailer?
I have not yet.
Oh, you should see it, bro.
Okay.
What's your favorite Batman movie?
Oh man,
There's a lot of them now.
there is so many of them.
I tend to be a bit of a Batman nerd, so even the terrible ones, I can
You
get a
like
lot
them
of
all?
enjoyment out of them.
I don't know. I remember when The Dark Knight came out. That was pretty.
That was epic.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
That was the
That might
first
be the
time
one.
I came to Colorado.
Oh,
The premiere night of that, we were driving down from Utah, went through Wyoming. Our car broke down.
oh
We were
man.
stuck in Wyoming for about an hour or two. Had to call rent a car from the airport. Dude came and picked us up. We drove him back to the airport and then headed back to
Holy cow.
Colorado. We had a Ween concert that night. So by the time we showed up, we had missed half the Ween concert.
Oh damn.
But luckily enough, it's Ween, so those concerts are just long and tons of songs.
Just keep playing.
So we still got a pretty good show, but we watched that, met some people at the concert, and they said, "Hey, just come crash on our floor in our apartment." Which I don't know about you, but to a little Utah boy, I was like, "Wow, it's so
Oh,
friendly."
yeah.
And you would think that maybe something creepy happened. Wake up with a hand on my thigh, but nope,
Not at a Wing concert.
no, it was just a bunch of good Ween fans,
Yeah.
and we went to their apartment and hung out, and I was a little too slow going, so all my buddies called spots on couches, and I had to sleep on the floor.
Oh damn.
So I don't fall asleep very easily unless I'm in a comfortable spot. So I just did not sleep at all that night.
Eee.
And then the next night was the Batman movie, and I was super stoked about it, really excited. It was like seeming like this Heath Ledger guy's gonna kill it, and we just wandered around Denver the next day, and I tried as best I could to stay awake. They were feeding me
Oh.
coffee and just, I don't know, like, here's a 5 hour energy and just like all this stuff. But once we got into that movie theater, the movie was incredible. I mean, it was awesome. The pencil scene, just watching the entire
Oh yeah.
crowd react to that. I loved it, so we turned around and immediately snuck into the IMAX version right after and watched it again. So that
Nice.
is easily my favorite Batman movie.
There you go.
The Batman versus Superman, eh, not so much.
That was the recent one.
That was the recent one.
I
They
haven't seen
did
that one yet.
Batman versus Superman, and that was Ben Affleck.
Oh.
And then they did the Justice League, which they kind of, that was like a mutant of a film because they didn't like the reaction to Batman versus Superman, so then they kind of messed that all up. And now they're revamping it, and they're using David Patterson,
Hmm.
Daniel Patterson. I forget his first name, but he's the sparkly guy from Twilight. He's the main beau.
Oh, I
But
see.
he's actually a really good actor. He was recently in a movie I saw, The Lighthouse, with
Hmm.
William Dafoe. It was all like kind of The Shining is a sea shanty. Say that
Ooh.
5 times fast. And he did a really good job in that. So I saw the
Oh,
trailer, and
nice.
it's all dark and brooding, and it's gonna be the Riddler this time, I believe.
Man.
Which the last time they did that was Jim Carrey. I love that version too, but that's not really a very accurate Riddler, for lack of a better way of putting it. It's kind of like, oh, Jim Carrey just put on a green suit and was Jim Carrey.
Yeah.
And I mean, Tommy Lee Jones was basically just trying to match him as Two Face, and Two Face isn't crazy like that.
Yeah.
And so this new version, I'm really excited to see it.
Nice. That sounds good.
As far as movies go, any new movies coming out that you're excited to see or that you've heard of?
I haven't I haven't like been to a movie in a long time to like see the previews of what's coming out. I really haven't seen too much. Haven't been keeping an ear to it. Have there been many like new ones coming out with COVID? They're delaying them all, or
No, they have been showing old movies now that they've
jeez.
gone through the phases of reopening. A lot of the studios don't want to invest in putting their new movies out because it just won't make the money back
Yeah.
yet. So they've been doing stuff like showing Jurassic Park again or E.T.
Mm-hmm.
And we recently went by a theater, and I was tempted to just go in and get a thing of popcorn and leave. And bring it home and watch something because I
Yeah,
I
good
miss
plan.
movie theater popcorn.
Oh
Like
yeah,
I think I'm probably a bit more of a movie geek than you. Like I used to go quite a bit.
yeah. It's something I've always really enjoyed, and I'm sure that'll be a part of this podcast. Is you've been slowly catching me up to speed on a lot of good movies, so I
Yes,
enjoy them. Just
indeed.
need to make more time for them. So
Yeah, I mean that's definitely part of hanging out. Is we'll go through certain directors' work and or just a certain style of film. Um, Recently we've been revisiting Trey Parker and Matt Stone movies,
hmm
and if you don't know who they are, they're the dudes who do South Park and the Book of Mormon musical, and so we've gone through some of their films. The ones we've watched while you were here were Cannibal the Musical, Basketball, and Team America, and you hadn't seen
yeah,
those before?
basketball seemed slightly familiar. I think I might have seen that one a long time ago, but other than that, nope.
Do you have a
I
favorite out of the three?
Oh man, it is tough. They all have their own reasons why I really enjoyed them. They're all just kind of so different that it's hard to pick, you know?
Yeah,
I think Basketball was my favorite movie, and Cannibal is my favorite musical, and Team
yeah,
America is my favorite puppet comedy.
yeah. And we will definitely try to do a little bit better research in the future. But so unfortunately, I cannot think of the actor's name. But the guy who plays Squeak Scolari or Chota Boy in Orgasmo, like,
Oh yeah,
is just I love that guy. And
he's fantastic.
I watched all those movies when I was like 16 up until like 25, just over and over and over and over again.
Yep.
And then yeah, I had to kind of set them aside. It's like I'd seen them a bunch, and I turned 34 about a week ago, and I was like, it's time.
Time to open the box
We
back
got
up.
to revisit these. And we watched Cannibal the Musical last night, and I was just like, oh, yeah, that joke, or that one. And
Oh yeah,
yeah. Do you have a favorite part of that movie? Anything in particular? Favorite song?
the snowman, the snowman scene is just too good.
Yeah,
That
Snowman,
whole little part. Yeah.
tap dancing in the snow.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah, if you haven't seen it, another thing, we got a mutual friend, Neil, who we like to usually do like a drinking game anytime we do a movie. So, and we'll watch anything. We'll watch Disney's Aladdin and turn it into a drinking game. So, we've discussed maybe doing like drinking game along movie commentaries, but that's a whole other thing
Oh
as
man.
well. But I think a recent one we watched of that on this big long list we were making was the movie Powder. Have you seen that?
No, I've not seen that one yet.
Yeah, it was an old '90s movie with Jeff Goldblum, and it was
Nice.
about a very, very, very white boy who has electrical powers.
Ooh,
Yeah, and I'll just leave it at that. But all of you should go see it because it was very '90s, but also like this is really good. It
nice.
was a poor fella. And with that, we'll move on to music. Any new musical releases or acts in your sphere lately?
The last group that I was really getting checking out a lot was they have a Tiny Desk concert. What is their name? Moonchild. I
Moonchild,
think
tell
I
me about
shared it
that.
with you.
I have not seen it
But
yet, though.
so it's a three-piece group, two dudes, and I think they do most of the programming, the beats, and the all the other keyboard instruments. Lots of program bass and all that stuff. And
Mm-hmm.
then they have a female lead singer, and
Okay.
she also plays. They all play like flute and saxophone and trumpet. So if you watch this, their Tiny Desk concert on YouTube, they just pull out all these instruments between every verse. They do a little instrument break with like a different instrument, and it's just really chill, kind of trip hop. It's kind of like we were talking about with Cloud Faculty, just in that same vein. Really
Yeah.
funky, just the musicianship. There's all this space. It's just this really slow song, and they're just like locked in perfectly at this really slow tempo. and it's
Are they
cool.
actually really good with their instruments?
Oh yeah.
Like even the weird ones?
And they're not, they're not showing off or anything. It's all really simple stuff, but just at this slow tempo, they're just right on. They're blending together perfectly, and
Yeah.
she is so much fun to watch sing. She's having a great time. Great singer,
So Moonchild.
Moonchild.
All right. Everybody should go check that out.
What about you?
I was gonna say real quick on that cloud faculty thing. We busted out a saxophone. I hadn't played
Oh,
one of those since middle school, and holy shit, I was not. I couldn't even remember how that thing worked. I was able to squeak out, definitely squeak, like 5, 6 notes.
yeah, you got a whole scale down by the end. You had it
Yeah,
going the end
I
of the night.
almost got the major scale, and the Saints go marching in almost,
Yeah,
and yeah, I was feeling pretty good. But yeah, we're trying to blend weird instruments with the trip hoppy thing, and I think they kind of complement each other. And so
yeah,
Moonchild, they're actually good at
yeah.
it.
It seems I've never played a wind instrument, but that seems like it'd be a pretty difficult thing to be playing like a keyboard, and then grab a wind instrument and just start playing. Not warmed up, no blowing some. Maybe they can blow through a little bit with making noise, but no warm up notes. They just come right in, playing those exact notes. I'm like, dang,
The
that
inner
seems.
part of my lower lip is just raw.
Yeah,
It's just ready to cook before it goes bad.
yeah.
It's just ugh. As far as the NPR Tiny Desk thing goes, it's been a while now, but I think one of my favorite discoveries on there recently was Idols. Did I send that to you or have
I
you heard that?
don't. I have heard that name, but I don't remember who's shared them with me, or if I've actually watched it yet.
I think my favorite track from them is Never Fight a Man with a Perm.
Nice.
And they're just kind of these UK blokes who just do this punk rock kind of thing. And
Huh.
they just got a lot of energy. And I really like the lyrics of it. The singer is really kind of the highlight for me. I won't attempt to do that right now, but he has some good lines. And so, as far as NPR's Tiny Desk goes, I would recommend Moonchild and Idols. That's IDLES.
Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah. So that musically, there's a new Deftones track. I'm a gigantic Deftones fan,
Oh
and
yeah.
they're finally releasing something.
Has it come out yet?
Yeah, the single. It's the same as the album title. It's called Ohms, OHMS, which I think is some kind of like electrical unit.
Yeah. How you measure resistance?
Yeah, yeah. I had no
Which
idea.
it could be an interesting, play on words in the current time. I wonder if that's what they're going for. You never
I don't
know.
know. With them, they're always vaguely sexual and dreamy. I don't know if they'd touch on something like that, but you
Huh.
never know, I guess. I always thought it
Well,
was something more like ohms, like that kind of a thing.
I'm not sure if that has a different spelling or not. I've never looked into that.
Yeah.
If it's spelled the same. But what do you
I,
think of the track overall?
I like it a lot.
Nice.
It's straightforward, so it's not like I would say it's an interesting new take on their sound, but at that being said, it's also pretty straightforward and just a good tune and nothing too wacky's going on in it. But I think it just is giving you a taste. This is what the album's going to be. It's the last track off of the album, which is
Oh,
a bit unusual. A lot of
yeah,
bands
that's
don't do
interesting.
that. And I'm just a huge Deftones fan, so I could be biased. I'm excited anytime they release something. The last one, Gore, came out in 2016, I believe, and the mix on it wasn't great,
Mm-hmm.
but I love the album regardless of that. But some people kind of complain about that one. Some
Huh.
people said it's lead singer's like side project. Um,
Oh,
and I'm like, I don't think so. I think that's because the guitar player came out and said he initially had a hard time getting into making the record, but he came out and said I eventually got into it. It's just saying initially I
yeah.
wasn't ready to get in the studio and get to work, and some of these songs I wasn't feeling it, and that happens. I know
Yep.
Sometimes I'll bring in songs to my various bands, and they're just like, "Yeah, okay, great, whatever." And you're all excited about it. Everybody else is like, "Meh, well, maybe." And it's hard to. I can only imagine with five guys. That's why I try to keep bands to trios.
Yeah.
Just easier to get things
To
done.
manage, yeah.
Music wise, I really can't think of much. This summer was supposed to have like a lot of really great shows.
Oh man, so many.
And, as you know, COVID, I don't think we'll waste much time talking about that because that's all anybody's talking about. And I don't think we'd really contribute anything new or fresh to it.
No, just we share everyone else's sadness of all the concerts getting canceled. I had a lot canceled the that I was gonna play in. Lost a lot of money that way, and I also just lost a lot of good times. I was planning on. I think I did end up coming down here, but it was right at the start of the whole thing, and we got down here and the concert got canceled. We were going to see Devin Townsend down here in Denver,
Yeah.
but I was the first one to go, and many other have followed. Uh, and there were some great concerts coming to Utah. I can't even remember who they are now, which is
Yeah.
which is probably good. I'd just be sadder.
That was like the slight happiness of it, though, is there's a bunch of concerts I wasn't going to be able to make. And then it's like, oh, next year. Okay. Oh, maybe. All right. Maybe I'll
Yeah,
make it.
I didn't go this year because of that, not because of time and money.
Yeah. Um, Fort Collins, where we're at, has a lot of great food. I remember when you came down, we're like, all right, we're going to hit up this restaurant and this restaurant and this restaurant. And then as soon as you got here, it's like, they're all shut down.
Yep.
I was like, okay, well, we're going to do a lot of hanging out on the couch and drink some beer.
Yeah, which that's fun too.
Yeah, we managed to get through. And I feel like it's been getting better and better since,
Yeah.
despite little hiccups here and there. Obviously, there's still those dudes out there, and it seems to usually be a dude who's wears the mask over his mouth, not over his nose.
Hey, at least they're even wearing them down here.
I said, okay, yeah, I
From
guess you're
up in
right.
Logan, there's still just tons of people who don't even think it's a real thing. So
Just a
it's
bunch
hard
of
to,
sheep, man.
yeah. And yep, and that's as much as people think it is. That is not a political issue. This is just science, people. Just gotta throw the mask on when you're out
You had
around
to
people.
use that dirty word, science. Ugh. Oh my god.
So yeah, sorry for using the S word. So.
Uh, we went to a Home Depot recently because we had to pick something up, and there was this dude with a little potato-sized dog just standing in the middle of the entrance with a MAGA face mask on, down over his mouth, not covering his nose. And just like, yeah, just standing right here just so you guys all get the message. And I was just like, wow, all right.
Oh man.
That's a whole next level troll right there, is to get the MAGA mask, put it on, and then still just do the whole, like, I'm not putting
A,
it on my
a
nose.
properly worn MAGA mask is probably like the most useful like it's ever gonna be. Like anything with MAGA on it.
Yeah, I guess if it
So
was up over his nose, it'd be like,
yeah,
all
well, you're
right,
actually trying, maybe.
okay. Don't
So
agree, but I
yeah,
agree. Sort of.
exactly.
Huh. Uh, Music, movies, video games. Any new video games you've been trying out?
Oh, none that I've been able to actually attempt. I just have been seeing this one. I cannot think of the name of it. It's on a PS4 and Ghosts of Tenshuru or nope, I can't remember.
Ghosts of Tangerine.
Anyways,
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I can't
I
remember the
mentioned it the other
word.
night. And it's supposed to just be awesome.
It's like
Uh,
Samurai.
yeah, it's like a kind of people have described it as Witcher 3, but you're a samurai, and I was like, that sounds awesome. I
That's
used to
cool.
play a game called Tenchu Stealth Assassin on PS2, and there was also another game called like Samurai that was a similar idea, and I just love those games. So
Okay.
looking forward to that one. I think Cyberpunk is getting close to coming out. That one looks really sweet.
I always keep hearing people mentioning that.
They've been hyping it up for like a year. I swear, it's been just sitting there on my Steam queue, just waiting forever. But it's
Okay.
finally getting close. I think it's within a month, and yeah, that'd be fun. But it's crazy how addicted to this golf game I got though that we've been playing.
Yeah,
That
this
game,
PGA
yeah,
Club Tour or something like that.
yeah, Golf Club featuring PGA Tour 2019, I believe is the title. Which
Yeah,
I
I
don't
don't
know
know
who
if it
wrote
was
that.
like what used to be the Tiger Woods series, and
Kind of seems like that, but
when all that stuff went down, they were like, we're just not gonna attach it to one guy anymore. It's just PGA Tour. Blah, blah."
yeah,
That has been a lot of fun though. It's like revived an interest in learning golf for all of us. We're like, let's go do mini golf, or maybe we can go to the club and like do lines of coke, and then we can go golf. No, of course not. But well,
uh,
but
fris-
yeah, I would like to learn how to golf.
me too. And I like frisbee golf a lot. I haven't been in a minute, but I've always liked the idea. It's cool
Do you
sport.
think hardcore golf fans get upset when you say frisbee golf? Like I like frisbee golf too, and they're just like,
I mean,
it's not real golf.
yeah, it's pretty much the same thing, just a different. It's the same thing, just a different thing.
It's like bluegrass and newgrass.
Yeah, exactly. Like,
I was working the other day, just helping out with something, and there's a bunch of bluegrass fellas that are just like kind of Puritans about it. It's got to be
oh yeah,
authentic, original bluegrass.
oh
And
yeah.
somebody that was with us was just like, "Oh, I listened to Devil Makes Three, like they're bluegrass, right?" And you just see this like weird
You
glaze
see
come over
the
their eyes.
bluegrass vein pop.
And I
Uh,
mean, I don't really listen to either one, so I'm like, oh,
those are
ooh.
sad people. Those
Yeah.
people that are get like that with any kind of music, really. Let alone bluegrass people, definitely have a deserved reputation for it. I know a lot of people like that just like you just say something like, "Well, let's do that song in this key," even just like changing the key of the song. People are just like, "Well,
What?
my word," it's ridiculous. So it's
Yeah.
people just need to open your mind and just listen to all kinds of music. Give everything a try. I guarantee you, we've done it. We found a bluegrass album you like. I don't remember which one, but we found one that you're like, I like this. Not like I'm not gonna go put it on, but I swear in every
I'll
genre
allow
you'll
it to
find
be
something.
on.
Yeah, you're like, hey, this isn't terrible.
If you think
There's
about it,
something for everybody.
people that are just purely into pop music might be the most open-minded people there are.
Well, most people like that. I have been able to be like, oh, well, check this out, and they'll be like, ooh, yeah, I like this too.
Okay, yeah. I'll put it on my Britney Spears mix, and then it's just like, okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's weird, what you might call gatekeepers, I guess,
Oh yeah, big
to
time.
the metal community and the rap
Metal's another
community,
one that
and
gets it bad, and I don't know too much about the rap community as far as like different styles and stuff and how they
I
guard
wouldn't
that,
pretend to
but
act like I know that much about it, but it's definitely a genre I'm a little more into, and yeah, you're just like I'm into Danny Brown or Earl Sweatshirt. They're just like, oh, that's not real. That's just like that's
that's
not where it's
no, yeah.
going, and I'm like, oh, all right.
Which
I
yep,
didn't know.
bluegrass guys are definitely the worst at that exact thing. They're like, oh, that's not blah blah blah.
Right.
That's who you will definitely hear that the most from, and it's unfortunate because bluegrass is there's some amazing musicians, and you'd think if that's what you're listening for, you'd be able to hear it in other music, let alone other bluegrass.
Yeah.
Like, oh, this is too new. It's like, what's wrong? They're like too good, or what don't you like about it? It's awesome.
Mm. Well, and I think that's a conversation we have a lot, which will probably come up quite a bit, is we're always trying to discuss that there's a difference between recognizing the technical ability of something and
Mm-hmm.
then recognizing the subjective element of it. So I can listen to a bunch of bluegrass and be like, wow, these are incredible musicians. But then when I hear the music, I'm like, I never feel like this. I don't relate to it emotionally, and I don't want to listen to it. And that's just taste. That's like
Yeah,
nothing negative on them. It's
yeah.
just like that's why I always liked food as a metaphor. Where it's just like this is just like delicious slice of ham, and I'm not a ham guy. I prefer
Yeah.
chicken or
And
whatever
you
it
say you're
is.
relating to it too, and that's a different way of listening to music than some people.
Yeah.
Some people don't look for that as much, or don't look for it in that way. Like I can't relate to this, but I kind of like listening to a song about some person, 50 years ago going
Sure.
through something shitty. And it's just kind of like interesting to kind of think about
That
that happening.
actually helps.
Yeah.
If it's an older song, I'm like, I can kind of be like, wow, this is an interesting like snapshot in time. Like,
Yeah.
I love to listen to stuff from the 60s or 70s and just think about what the world was like when came out. And so it's like a newer bluegrass song or anything. I'm just like, eh. Like, I was just like, I don't care.
Yeah.
And it's all right.
That's
And
fine.
yeah, that's what we're trying to get across is it is okay to not like some stuff. Just recognize that it's subjective and a matter of taste and doesn't mean you figured out how music
With
works.
all the other stuff going on right now, it's the last thing we should be arguing about. That's for sure.
That's true.
Just like let people be if that's what they want to listen to and stuff for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah, do try to check new stuff out with an open mind.
So yeah, I
We'd always
imagine
encourage that.
as the show continues, we might step on your toes just a little bit and be like, "Oh, that new Aquaman. Mm-mm. That is
Uh
not
oh.
that is not going to happen. I'm not into it. It's going to be okay. We will say that we did not like it. We'll try to be fair, but we're not the authority. We're just two guys spitting our opinions.
Exactly. That's all this is.
Yep. So we have covered a few things. Like, what would be another subject that we could discuss on this show? We have movies, video games. Oh, speaking of video game, real quick, I've been jumping into Final Fantasy VII Remake. The Final Fantasy VII Original is like one of my favorite games of all time. And the remake, it's added some new elements while honoring
Mm,
some old elements, and I think they struck the balance really well.
nice.
So,
I've heard
yeah.
good things about everybody that's been playing it.
Mm-hmm.
So
So that is definitely one to check out, especially if you liked the older game.
that is one game I have still never played. I've watched quite a bit of. I think it was actually the original seven, but yeah, never actually played it myself.
Yeah, I think even the original holds up if you like that style of game, just a turn-based RPG. If you like the strategy of it, then I think they're still
Huh.
worth playing, even though the graphics are definitely outdated.
I see. I've never actually even ever played a game of that style. Really, I don't
Hmm.
think so. It'd be a first. Pokemon. I guess that's kind of a similar thing.
I guess, but I never played that.
Yeah. So, yeah, that'd be cool.
Yeah, my personal favorite Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy 9. So
Also
I don't
heard
know.
good things about
Maybe
that
I'd
one.
push you into playing 7 or 9. Forget about 8, maybe.
I've also heard that.
And yeah, anything else you would like to go over before
Well,
we wrap this up?
the last thing I think what we talk about that basically what we've been listing is all the things we're into in our lives, and
Yeah.
currently I'm trying to. Uh, I just missed a big hiking trip, but I've been trying to get in shape for that, and I'm just trying to do that overall. I know that's something you've done some gym time in the past, so kind of be
Rarely, but yeah.
you got a new bicycle, stuff like that.
I got a new
Always a
bike
fun
that's
thing to keep people apprised of. If
yeah,
anything develops on the fitness front, do fun little trips or hikes or anything.
sure. I got a new bike that's had a tire pop 5 times on it, so
Yeah, you got to get them gooey tires.
yeah, new tires and try to get remotivated. Not feel like I'm gonna get out there on the trail and have it pop and have to walk it back for an hour and a half.
Yeah, that's not fun.
Yeah, it's very demotivating.
I'm surprised Fort Collins doesn't have a bike AAA yet.
Maybe they do, and I just haven't heard of it.
Or maybe
Um,
that's the.
I've been told riding around in Fort Collins, there's these little things on the ground. I can't remember the name of it, but they can really mess up your tires. Maybe that's been
Oh, a
happening, and
little
I
weed, yeah.
don't even recognize it, or I
Know
don't
what
know.
to watch for. Yeah,
I think
those
it's mostly
little.
I just have bad tires. I got a old used bike, so those tires came with it, and they're probably pretty old.
Yeah, they got new tires that are like, I think, basically flatless. Like, you can get ones that will take anything like that, a little thorny seeds and stuff.
Hmm.
So,
Where was your trip gonna be again?
I was supposed to go up to the Wind Rivers up in Wyoming. But
Okay,
I
you
did
try to
get to
do that
go.
every year, right?
Yeah, I try to get up there at least once a year, and this year we were finally going to go to a place I've been wanting to go for like 5 years, and had a whole week off, and gonna
Well,
finally get up to the good stuff, way up in there. But yeah,
well,
life happens.
life happens, bad backs, and then you come to Colorado and do a podcast, write a song.
Exactly.
Uh,
I still had a great vacation.
that's good. I suppose, yeah, we'll just try to work in other elements as we see fit. As far as writing to this podcast, you can write to fakoshka@gmail.com. That is FAKOSHKA@gmail.com. Or you can follow our YouTube channel, Fakoshka. We might change that to the Fakoshka Network or something like that soon, but as of right now, just look up Fakoshka on YouTube.
That is
Um,
the easiest way to get a hold of us for now, and hope this podcast keeps growing, and we'll do some other casts and all kinds of fun stuff. So send in if you want, the fan mail, suggestions, tips,
if
hate
you
mail,
want
I
to just,
guess. I
yeah,
don't
if
know,
you want to
whatever
rage at us
works for
for
yeah.
our opinions that we just shared, then email fakoshka@gmail.com.
Yeah, and the Aquaman thing was just like an example. We didn't actually say
Dude,
that,
in the
so you
next
can calm
Aquaman,
down
he's
there.
going to wear a MAGA mask. It's not going to go over his nose. He's
And
going to have a little tiny potato sized sea dog that he's just floating around trying to
just hanging
antagonize
out.
everybody with.
Uh,
Oh, one last suggestion as far as TV. We just finished or got caught up with The Righteous Gemstones on HBO.
oh man,
And that's a great show, so you should check that out. And we kind of started checking out Barry, which is another really good one, so
hmm
check that out as well.
lots of good TV right now.
Yeah, so if there's not a lot of good new movies coming out, definitely a lot of good TV shows and things like that. So, one last time, if you would like to contact us, make suggestions, we could even give you advice if you'd like.
Oh
Email
yeah,
us at fakoshka@gmail.com, and we'll keep developing the show and adding to it. And go follow us on YouTube. Search Fakoshka. Also, go like our Fakoshka Facebook page and Instagram.
all the social medias,
All the social
please.
medias. I think we got it covered, right?
Likes and subscribes.
Likes and subscribes and shares, yes?
Yes, you like much.
All right. Thanks for hanging out with us. We'll do more in the future.
Thanks, everybody.